Okay. Hi, I'm Natasha,
And I'm Cassandra.
and this is Strange Sisters.
So, first and foremost, happy St. Patrick's Day. Well, when we're recording it, it's St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, I don't even know what this holiday is for, actually.
I believe it's about St. Patrick driving the snakes out of Ireland.
I'm guessing that's metaphorical.
I honestly don't know more than that, but
Interesting. Okay.
I know that, that's what I've read online.
You wouldn't think that snakes would be, like such a historical thing. Like,
Well, it makes sense if it's metaphorical, because St. Patrick.
yeah, unless there was like venomous snakes, but that seems unlikely.
I have no idea, honestly. We're like 90% German. I don't know.
Are we? I guess we're more probably German, or no, I think we're more French, Italian, and German, but I think we're more French.
Wait, we'll have to talk about this later. I don't know where the French of it all came in.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
thought
I
we
think
were mostly German and Italian. I made being Italian like a whole personality trait when I was in high school.
yeah, but I think everyone does that on the East Coast, because you're either like Italian or you're not. It's like a badge of honor.
Well, it was peak Jersey Shore time.
True,
I am a Snooki fan. For anybody who doesn't know that, I love Snooki.
clearly. I feel like that's obvious.
It's that obvious.
Yeah, you give off like the Snooki vibes for sure.
You know what? Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
One of my favorite comedians, Zachariah Porter, he just posted this thing on TikTok where it's him playing Sammy and Ronnie when she confronts him. Oh my God,
I think I saw
so funny.
that about the note.
Yeah. And about giving out her number to guys or something. She's like, how did you look me in my face and lie to my face? It's like, oh my God.
I feel like I know too much Jersey Shore lore. Like I could quote word for word the fights they had.
I really didn't even watch it, but my husband John, who is not at all from the East Coast, or really even lived in that era, like he was already an adult when all that stuff was going on. He loves Jersey Shore. He's watched like all the episodes, all the
It's
reunion episodes. It's like,
it's
what are
so
you doing?
good.
Yeah, I prefer Sister Wives. That's more of my like guilty pleasure.
I've been trying to put my husband Lance down the sister wives rabbit hole, and he's just like, I can't do this anymore.
It's very complicated. There's so many children and
No,
so many wives.
it was Mary,
Christine and
Christine,
Janelle, and
Jill,
then Robin.
Robin. Yes,
Hmm.
Robin with the weird eyebrows, and I don't mean that in a mean way, but they're weird.
Yes, very dramatized eyebrows. She's the only remaining wife now, is Robin.
Yeah, I mean,
The rest
again,
of
I
them,
can't talk on anybody's eyebrows. I think the last time I got mine done was when you did them, like 20 years ago.
that can't be good because I over plucked my eyebrows and now they won't grow in like full anymore. They're like stuck in this like tadpole shape. Like I don't know.
What a specific visual.
Or like a colon, like they're just like, yeah, it's like a tadpole. I don't know. I just plucked them too much. And well, before that, I shaved them off, so that probably didn't help either.
Oh, I remember your eyebrow shaver vividly.
Yeah. Well, it's for the goth lifestyle.
Anyway, so that was our fun little tangent. So I'm going to talk to you guys today about the Islandmagee Witch Trials and the way we have struggled to get this podcast out.
Hmm.
But it's very ironic because it is St. Patrick's Day, and this is about an Irish peninsula. And it is actually the last witch trial in Ireland. So in February of 1711, a widow named Anne Haltridge passed away. Now, she was an older woman. She was having a lot of issues, which now with like new common medicine, we could see her symptoms more so as dementia. But
Mm.
at the time, she thought she was being haunted. She thought like her house was possessed. And when she died, they believe she died of demonic attacks because that's a really good excuse.
Yeah, it's a valid cause of death, I guess. Back then.
So when she passed away, her niece, Mary Dunbar, came to settle her affairs, more or less. And she was fine for the first like couple weeks. Mary was fine until she found this old apron of her aunt's that had 7 knots tied in it. And we were born and raised Catholic. So, you know, the number 7 is very like biblical, very Jesus-y. um, and the fact that her aunt who died and was the widow of a minister. It was very like religious, and everybody told Mary, "Do not untie those knots. Like those are there for a reason. Like they're trying to stop these demonic attacks." But as any like 18 or 19-year-old would, she untied them. For why, I don't know. I mean, yeah, but
I
I just
guess.
don't get why you would like take this apron and just untie it in general.
Right, like just leave it alone. You have other stuff to worry about.
And now, to quote Michael Scott, I'm not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious. I've got a cinnamon broom on my front door. Like, if
Hey,
I
me
saw
too.
this, do you really?
Yeah.
It's so funny. I, and my vibes, I'd be like, hey, maybe just don't touch it and leave it alone. Maybe bury it with your aunt, but don't touch it.
Yeah, there's just really no reason. Like I mean, unless it was like a really expensive apron that she was like, "Oh, I have to like take this or sell it or something." Like just leave it there and like settle the rest of her affairs and go back to your life.
Right? And Mary was a young girl. She was about 18 or 19 years old. And unfortunately, as I'll tell you more later, she passed away very young. But everything started again as soon as she untied those knots on the apron. So after she untied the knots, after being told by multiple townsfolk, don't touch this,
Mhm.
she started to see things, hear things, quote unquote, levitate, be possessed. And this went on for like a good couple weeks, but everything escalated so quickly. So unfortunately, because at that time period, everybody's favorite option out was it's witchcraft. So things did not go great. In Ireland, they actually had a law about witchcraft. It was the Irish Witchcraft Act of 1586. And what's really interesting about that is they looked at witchcraft very differently than like during the Salem witch trials in America did. Their reasoning was it's more of a misdemeanor than a felony, basically. So as long as there was no a direct threat to life or limb, they would spend a year in jail and a couple of weeks in the stocks. But
Okay.
before I go too far, I do want to make sure I say the names of the people who were accused and punished because I think that's important. Okay, so in March of 1711, Mary Dunbar would accuse 8 local women and 1 man who either lived nearby or in Islandmagee, and their names were Catherine McGold, Elizabeth Seller, Janet Liston Seller, Janet Mean, Janet Miller, Janet Latimer, Margaret Mitchell, and William Seller.
A lot of Janets there. Wow.
Yeah, I feel personally attacked by that. For those who don't know, my dog's name is Janet.
Well, apparently it's a common Irish name or Scottish name. Huh. So you're saying that she died, but before she died, she accused all these people.
Yes. So
Okay.
before she died, she accused all of these women, and the last one, the 1 man. Um,
Mhm.
I don't know if you recognize the last name Elizabeth Seller, Janet Linston Seller, and William Seller. That was a family. That was a
Mm.
mother, a husband, and a child.
Wow.
I mean, I believe Janet wasn't like a child,
Hmm.
but still, it seems like with any kind of accusatory witchcraft of any kind of anything really, when people want an answer, they point to people who were not fitting their norm. So
Right.
most of these people, from the things I could find about them, they were either drunks or disabled.
Yeah, and what's interesting too is that usually when something like this happens, it's like a person that's new to town, but it's actually the person that's new to town that's accusing all of these townspeople that presumably have lived there for most, if not all of their lives. So it's kind of different than you would usually hear in stories like this.
And I wonder if part of that would be because her aunt was the widow of a minister, so her uncle was a minister, and in that time religion was super serious. So maybe they just trusted by blood that like they were doing right.
Right? They had some kind of status because of their position within the church.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And Mary was not like a low social at all. When she got there, she was of more or less higher social status. So under the Witchcraft Act, like I said, of 1586, only one person, well, two people, but one person died because of it, because she was not physically able to show proof that she was harmed. It was all about spectral evidence, which is, again, something you'll hear a lot about in the Salem witch trials. Spectral evidence is, excuse my language, bullshit. And the only reason that the gentleman William Seller died was because Mary actually passed away. And because she passed away while he was being accused under the Irish Witchcraft Act of 1586, it was loss of life or limb. So he was sentenced to death because she died with, and I tried really hard to find out like what she actually died of. All I could find was from witchcraft, which like vibe, I guess. I don't know.
I wonder if it was like poisoned well water or something, because it sounds like she was okay at first and then rapidly it got really bad.
And especially with that would make sense, except for the fact that her aunt died pretty old. So I guess I don't see where her aunt would live for that long on that piece of land with poisoned well water, and she got super sick super quick.
Yeah, but it's also like if you're not used to it, because like a lot of people up here that go up into the mountains, like they'll just drink the stream water and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine. I've drank it my whole life." And then other people are like, "Yeah, I got giardia and was down for weeks." So it probably also depends on your like gut, your microbiome and like what your body's used to.
I went camping recently, like once for Lance's birthday, and I got a coli, and I have every more reason not to go camping.
I've never heard of someone getting E. coli from camping. That's crazy.
Well, what was so funny is like we were glamping. We were in a nice little cabin, but the communal bathrooms, I didn't see the sign because we got there so late. On the bathroom door, there was a sign that says, "There's an E. coli outbreak. Don't drink the water." And I used it to wash my face.
You only used it to wash your face and you still got E. coli?
Yeah, it was not
Oh,
great.
wow. That's crazy. Yeah. Wow.
Mind you, I have the immune system of roadkill, so that might be more of a me thing.
True. But no, it's pretty serious though.
It was scary.
Hmm.
And well, thank goodness we had Jan with us, and I used my emergency water bottle to fill her water. If I had given her that water, she probably would have died.
Yeah, that's true actually. Yeah. Oh, Jan gets the good water. You can
I know, Jan
suffer.
gets the good water. I get the tap water.
Oh.
So, one, again, you're going to hear this a lot. Don't go in the woods and don't go camping. That's my
Mm.
prerogative. So during these trials, like I said, all the women lived. They had a year in prison and 4 stints in the stocks, which apparently are still there to this day. The judges who were doing this ruling were Anthony Upton of the Common Pleas Court, which is the equivalent of a civil court. They do like lawsuits and things like that. And James McCartney of the King's Bench, which is the principal court, so it's like the top tier court,
Mm.
more federal kind of. And one of them was really nice and sympathetic, and one of them was not. I could not find too much on both of them, other than the fact that Anthony Upton was a sympathetic judge. He asked for acquittal not on lack of belief in witchcraft. So he believed that these people could be witches. He believed in witchcraft, but he believed that because they were God attending, God fearing women, that they should be given grace. However, McCartney was the worst. And he urged for conviction, which obviously went through. Now, I talked about structural evidence earlier. The only evidence Mary had was that. That's it. That's all of it. She had nothing else. But under the Irish Witchcraft Act of 1586, it was enough to imprison everybody. Though when she unfortunately passed away at a young age, because she died while she was accusing William Seller, he was hung and put to death, which is the last loss of life in the Irish witchcraft trials ever, from what I understand. And if you honestly, if you compare it to like the Salem witch trials, this one wasn't, I guess, as bad, but wasn't great.
Yeah. Wait, I don't know if you can hear me, but this is just such a crazy story. Because she accuses these random people. They all serve time. I mean, which only a year, but like they were in the stocks. I mean, prison was not that prison's great now, but I'm sure it was much worse back then.
Speak of a coli, could you imagine?
Yeah, like this guy gets put to death and it's literally just random. Like she didn't even know these people.
No. I mean, I have to think because it was such a small area, she must have ran into them or something. But I mean, she tried to take out a whole family. Like a mother, a husband, and a daughter. Like that's it's very sad because I can't imagine that she was doing this vindictively. I just don't understand what happened. So,
Right.
like
Yeah.
obviously something was going on between her aunt and herself. Like something was happening that was giving them some kind of issue. And like you said, thankfully they only were in jail, but I can't even find out how Mary died. It just says witchcraft.
Yeah. I bet there was something up with that house or the land, something. I mean,
Yeah.
but then like did they have other people living in the house? Like okay, the preacher, obviously that was the husband, he also died.
Yes, he passed away first. He passed away.
Mhm.
I believe it was a minister, just to fact, whatever. It was him, and then Anne died, and then Mary died.
Mhm. I wonder if there was other people
Like
living in the
servants.
house. Right, or something like that. But I think, like, because if people were just visiting, like, maybe they weren't as affected by whatever was going on in that house as the people that actually lived there. It could even be, like, mold, like,
Yeah,
toxic mold. Um
I I used to live in an apartment with a ton of mold. That will mess you up.
Mhm. And psychologically, it can
Yeah,
cause a lot of issues, and especially if you're there long term, especially if you have an allergy to mold, which it runs in the family, it runs in our family, so
very specifically.
yeah. So, yeah, it seems like it's something environmental or
I think honestly, it has to be. It's either that or there's like running mental illness in the family, like maybe something like schizophrenia.
I don't think you can die from being schizophrenic. Well, unless you do something to yourself, I guess,
Yeah,
but
yeah, but I mean, seeing things that aren't there, hearing things that aren't there. At
mhm.
one point, she was levitating, which I don't know who are taking these notes. If this woman's levitating, put her on the bed. Like,
Yeah, well, we're just like, "Oh my god," just writing it in their diary. It's just
like I feel like that's when you go like full. What is that movie, The Exorcist? And you just like
Mm,
when Rogan's like tied to the bedpost.
mhm. You mean Reagan? You said Rogan.
Sorry, we were watching the X-Men the past couple
Oh,
days.
yeah, Reagan.
I will get through one podcast eventually without misspeaking someone's name. I'm not saying it's today, obviously it's not, but one day I will, hopefully. But so, like we were talking about, Mary passed away 3 weeks after the original trial. So this happened all very quickly. Within 3 weeks, this all happened. And of course, like I said, William unfortunately was put to death, and the other women who were punished were ostracized from the community, which is really unfortunate and I feel like really not fair. But I think you can see that today with a lot of people who are out of prison who try to apply for jobs and have to give your criminal history.
Yeah, yet our president is literally a felon, so I think we should just take that question off the application because clearly it means nothing.
One of the only safe places for people who have dealt with things and gone to jail is the restaurant industry. There are no questions there because nobody wants to know. And no one else will
Yeah,
work a 15-hour shift. Plus, you usually get french fries out of
get free food, yeah.
it. So, that's mostly how the story ends, except in March of 2023, 300 years after the trial, they wanted to place a memorial plaque to remember the lingering injustice that happened there. However, even to this day, there are people who still thrive on spectral evidence. I'm going to die on the sentence spectral evidence. They, specifically Keith Turner, a UUP counselor, I don't know Irish government, but pushed back on the creation of this memorial with his argument being that the council had no right or authority to clear convictions, and the plaque asserted the victim's innocence. So 300 years
Okay.
later, this old man is still afraid of witches.
Yeah, that's a weird thing to fight. Like, just let it go, dude.
Who honestly, who has the time?
Yeah, right. Like, there must be more important things to put your energy into. Like,
And fighting against this memorial, which is it was literally just like a memorial plaque, is just asserting that you are still afraid of women and witches.
yeah, I mean, I could see the same thing happening here, right?
Yeah, I know. America's really not setting a great example right now, or
No,
ever.
I don't know if we ever have,
I
to
was
be
saying not ever
honest.
really.
So, yeah.
And well, I could go into a whole rant about him not wanting this plaque to be put up, which I could and I would, but I won't. That'll be a later podcast. One cool thing that kind of comes out of that, though, is strong women are still able to terrify men. So that's great.
Yeah, hundreds of years later, still
Yeah.
terrified.
But hopefully they get their plaque.
Yeah, I mean, that guy can only be in office for so long, right? Well, in theory,
We
we've
said
got
that
some
the last
very
time.
old senators and congressmen, so again, we can't talk, but
And that is the story of the Islandmagee Witch Trials. And thank you for being patient with us. We're going through it today.
yeah, it's rough. Oh yeah, and I meant to mention at the beginning of the episode, um, I last week when we were talking about or last episode when we were talking about time slips, I said Henry the 11th, that it was actually Henry the 16th. So I was like, people, that's way off.
Oh
So,
my God. Miss Scopa is screaming at you.
oh my God, that would be amazing if she listened.
That was our Latin teacher.
Yep,
All I
I'm
can remember from
still.
that cat is classes Lecatne mihi ambulari ad latrinum. Can I go to the bathroom?
Can I go to the bathroom? Yeah, I do Latin on Duolingo, but I'm still on the basic. I mean, it's really not that hard, but it's like all you can't really use it.
Yeah,
So it's kind of
it's a dead language.
yeah. So, it's
Why are
hard to
you learning
practice.
Latin again?
Well, it's a good well, it has a lot of similarities to Spanish, which I am trying to learn.
Yeah, it's one of the Romance languages. Well, it's the
Mhm.
bud of all the Romance languages.
Yeah. So sometimes it makes sense in relation to Spanish, but um yeah, I don't know. I just always wanted to be like have you seen that movie As Above, So Below?
I keep meaning to watch it, but I never got the premise because it's about the catacombs, right?
Mhm.
But then like the worst thing you ever did is also in the catacombs.
Yeah, you just gotta watch it.
You keep making me watch movies that I'm gonna end up like crying about. I already watched the first two of the Hell
Oh, it's
House.
so addicting. Yeah, Hell House. You
Yeah.
gotta watch the third one. It brings it all together.
No! There's a strong irony in that I'm like the spooky one, but you can stomach horror movies and I'm a huge baby.
How are you the spooky one?
I wear darker makeup, I don't know.
Yeah, what the hell? I'm more
No,
of
you're definitely
a
the spookier of both of us.
more of the unsuspecting spooky one. I mean,
Yes.
before I had my tattoos, people were like, "You like horror movies?" And yeah, but
You're
yeah,
unassumingly spooky.
hmm
And
yeah, I
I
don't express it.
I think I'm tough, but I will cry at a horror movie.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. I can watch, like, pretty much any horror movie, it doesn't bother me at all. I think I also just kinda disassociate a lot, so
So you're just mentally ill.
yeah, that's probably more what it is.
Meanwhile, I
I
chronically watch Scooby Doo on a loop.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw this TikTok, it was, like, for kids that were, like, avid readers, how's your disassociating on like, you're doom scrolling on TikTok, and I was like, "Oh my god, I was disassociating as a kid, and I didn't even know." I just thought I was, like, an avid reader.
Gosh, you disassociated a lot. I don't think
I
I've ever pinpointed the word for it before.
My whole life, apparently, 'cause I don't remember anything from our childhood, really. I remember a few things here and there,
Don't worry, I remember a lot of it, and that's why I have therapy appointments every Monday.
but okay, cool. Well, the next one we'll definitely release it next week, and it's about a really weird, interesting case. It'll be our first, like, true crime case, but it's got,
Yeah,
like, a weird twist to it, so,
I'm so
yeah.
excited. And the one after that, I actually last weekend went to Gettysburg, and I've got a lot of information about the Gettysburg Orphanage.
Cool, yeah. Yes, they've got some good ones coming out soon. So yeah, we hope you keep listening and stay strange.